Lord Peter Mandelson was called the Prince of Darkness in British circles. That's because he engineered the career of Tony Blair and what the British Labour Party calls New Labour, i.e. globalization. Like the recent Epstein release shows Mandelson trading deep insider financial information with Epstein from 10 Downing Street during the 2008 financial collapse. The document suggests they are managing the crisis itself, seeking maximum profit for themselves and their network after their practices led, after all, to that very financial collapse.
Is the City of London terrified of Trump's American system of economics? In this video, Barbara Boyd unpacks the ongoing situation surrounding Keir Starmer, Peter Mandelson, and Jeffrey Epstein. She also delves into how this connects to the American system of economics versus a globalist financial system that has harmed hardworking people and business owners. We also address the leadership principles of transparency and accountability.
The media are now calling Starmer a dead man walking. And you can see how damaging this is by how desperately the city is trying to make it go away. They sent out the discredited MI6 spy, Christopher Steele, to claim that the whole Epstein network was actually a Russian intelligence operation. The same Christopher Steele, who gave us the debunked Russia dossier, is now telling us that the City of London's dirty laundry is actually Putin's fault. They're running the same play they ran in 2016. But their real problem is the United States, where Donald Trump keeps adding pieces to his American system economic revolution. Trump's actions have emboldened American system fans like Warren Koss and Steve Bannon to finally enthusiastically explain it to the American people. Here's their exchange.
Hang on. So listen, I want to make sure we name this as a construct for people. So we're dancing around. It's the American system. It's what Hamilton, and I say, along with the Declaration of Independence, something that doesn't get as much play that almost should is Hamilton's report on manufacturers. And you had, Andrew Jackson was part of that. Lincoln, as a Whig, this whole party stood for this, the American system. And I kind of say this is what Lyndon LaRoche's people also talk about. Talk to me about the American system. Why is the alternative quite different than late-stage finance capitalism that we find ourselves in this kind of cul-de-sac?
Now, Bannon just named the thing that terrifies the City of London more than anything else. Not tariffs, not the Epstein files, the American system itself. The economic alternative that makes their entire globalist casino obsolete. And that's why the empire's operatives are in overdrive right now. Christopher Steele didn't crawl out from under his rock to spin Epstein as a Russian spy because things are going real well for the City of London. That at this point, for the first time, the American system is coming out on top. Today, I'm going to first show you how the Epstein disclosures reveal how the globalist financial system was rigged. Then I'm going to show you that the elite's panic isn't just because they're being exposed and caught. It's because their casino economy has run out of chips, and Donald Trump has called their bluff. Finally, I'll show you why Christopher Steele's desperate attempt to blame Russia actually exposes even more about how the City of London and Wall Street have done their very dirty business. Lord Peter Mandelson was called the Prince of Darkness in British circles. That's because he engineered the career of Tony Blair and what the British Labour Party calls New Labour, i.e. globalization. Like Bill Clinton in the U.S., it was a con job, feigning concern to the lower classes while giving the elites and the banks free rein. Mandelson was the satanic brain behind many of the Anglo-American schemes, breathing life into what they called the rules-based order. To recap, the recent Epstein release shows Mandelson trading deep insider financial information with Epstein from 10 Downing Street during the 2008 financial collapse. The document suggests they are managing the crisis itself, seeking maximum profit for themselves and their network after their practices led, after all, to that very financial collapse. For example, Mandelson counsels Epstein that Jamie Dimon of JP Morgan Chase should, quote, mildly threaten the British Chancellor of the Exchequer over the bonus tax the British government imposed on bankers' bonuses. You see, the bankers were still frantically claiming their bonuses after they caused the collapse. Diamond followed through and threatened per Mandelson's advice. In France, the latest Epstein files confirm an extremely close relationship between the French-German head of the Edmond de Rothschild group, Ariane de Rothschild, and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. That's one of the largest and most significant banks in the world. From 2013 until his death in 2019, Epstein acted as an unofficial advisor to the Switzerland-based bank. When the bank came under U.S. DOJ investigation for money laundering, Epstein arranged a sweetheart deal through his close confidant, Catherine Rumler, Barack Obama's former White House lawyer. Then there's the current CEO and president of the World Economic Forum, Borge Brendi. Forbes tells us that his Epstein relationship has led to an internal investigation and a possible fight for control of the World Economic Forum with the founder, Klaus Schwab. Schwab himself, of course, had to resign because of sexual and financial scandal. Alex Craner has a very insightful piece about all of this. You should read it. He documents how the public operatives for London's rules-based order are vetted and picked. They are all deeply flawed. Their flaws are well known so that they can be controlled by the individuals and institutions behind the public show. Now, as if by divine force, the covers have been ripped off, and the men and women behind the curtain can now start to be exposed. Now, most American commentators can't make sense of what's happening here because they focus only on the domestic side of the equation. They miss the British chessboard entirely, the City of London, British intelligence, the offshore financial system.
Barbara Boyd exposes the British government's attempts to cover up financial and sex scandals, shifting blame to Russia just to dodge public scrutiny. But how much longer can this kind of corruption and disingenuous conduct continue? The truth is like water poured on oil in a jar. Sooner or later, the oil has no choice but to rise to the top. For decades, our governments have done the unbelievable. They promise to protect us and improve our lives. Yet for ordinary hardworking people, life only gets harder. Why? Because our governments are often compromised. They serve hidden controllers instead of the voters who elected them. This happens because corruption thrives in darkness, where decisions stay hidden and wrongdoing faces no real consequences. Transparency changes that. It makes actions visible and verifiable, so leaders know citizens, media, auditors, and watchdogs are watching. Accountability ensures real consequences for misdeeds and real rewards for integrity. When leaders operate from genuine personal conviction, backed by systems like mandatory disclosures and independent oversight, corruption becomes much harder to sustain. Individual abuses get caught early, and the whole culture shifts towards honest governance. Take Rachel Reeves at the World Economic Forum. She laughed as she said she was very struck and taken by the idea of putting your own country first and considering your own security and resilience. What kind of leader would think that way, or even say that quiet part out loudly? Finally, here's a government that actually put its people first. The Trump administration is implementing the American system of economics, focused on manufacturing and policies that benefit everyday Americans. If every government followed this approach, their countries and their people would thrive. If we want governments that serve the people instead of hiding scandals and obeying hidden masters, accountability and transparency must be non-negotiable. We need to elect and appoint leaders who respect these principles and quickly remove those who reject them and betray the public they are supposed to serve. If you have benefited in any way from this video, please subscribe, like, share, and be sure to leave us a comment.